Hi, I'm Mike from Adoorn, and thank you for making an Adoorn purchase. Today we'll be assembling our package box small. Now we shipped it flat packed to keep our prices down and save you money. The total assembly time should take about 20 to 40 minutes, and we highly recommend using a drill with an extension bit or a standard Phillips head screwdriver. Now let's get started. Now I know you're watching this video, but I recommend referencing the printed instruction sheet that came with the product. To prevent any damage, it's best to lay the panels down on a carpet or rug. I don't have that here today, but that is the best practice. You want to lay out all of your parts and hardware to make sure that you have everything, and then you can get started. Now this is a very simple build. It's just a standard box, a front, a back, two sides, and a top and bottom, just put together with screws. Now throughout the assembly, you'll be installing multiple screws. For me, it works best to start at one end, get the first screw in, and then work my way down by lining up the other screw holes. Let's get started with our first step, where we're going to assemble the two side panels to the back panel. To set this up, you want to make sure the foam is facing to the front, and you have the larger panel with foam on the bottom and the smaller one on the top. The assembly is really simple with 4 screws on each side. Now I've got my screws and my drill ready to go, and I've aligned the side and the back panel to get started here. For me, with the drill, it's easiest to do this standing up versus laying the product down, which you may find easy to do as well. I'll start here with the top, work my way down with inserting the screws at each point along the way. Now that I've assembled my two side panels to my rear panel, I'm going to attach the bottom panel. You'll want to make sure that the weatherproof stripping is facing to the front, and then take what you've built so far and drop it right onto the bottom panel. Once in place, there are 6 screw holes, 2 on each side and 2 in the back, where you'll need to attach the screws to complete attaching the bottom panel. Now I have a few screws set, one on the side, one on the back. To get them started, I'm going to screw them in. Now we're going to assemble the front panel to the two side panels. You'll want to make sure your weatherproof stripping is facing to the front, and make sure the top has 10 different screw holes, which need to be facing on the top for a future step. To install the screws, you'll need to insert them from the inside, and a helpful tip is to have this panel facing to the front with it open, and then insert these first 2 screws here. Once those are installed, rotate the panel up, and then install your last 2 screws to finish completing the assembly of all 4 screws. Now I have the first 2 in. I'm going to rotate the panel, then install the 2 on the top. Now to install the top 2 screws, reach your hand in from the bottom and screw them in place. Now we're going to assemble the top. 2 screws go on each side, 2 screws in the back, and the top sits on like this for the assembly. Now I find it significantly easier to lay the top on the ground and flip the box upside down to attach those screws. The box is flipped upside down, so now I'm going to take it and put it onto the top, and then complete assembly by installing the 2 screws on each side and 2 on the back. Now we'll attach the front package box door by lining up the hinge with the 10 screw holes, and then insert your 10 screws at each of the points here. 10 screws, 10 holes, very simple. Now we'll attach our anti-theft panel by making sure the lip is facing to the front, and then aligning the screw holes on the top door. Once aligned, insert your screws at each point. Now we'll attach our bottom locking door by taking the hinge and aligning it with the 10 screw holes that are here on the product. Once aligned, insert the 10 screws at each point. Now that we have the locking door on, let's make sure that the lock works. Then we'll flip it over onto its back to install the 4 feet, which is the final step. Now that you have your package box small fully assembled, it's time to get some use out of it.